Hi everyone, welcome to Pablo Escobar's vids, and today I'm going to be running through the heroic Sith raid solo with an SLKR 3-man crew. Some people in my guild have asked me to try and make a video on, so I just thought I'll try and explain a little bit about how it works as well. So I've modded my Supreme Leader Kylo Ren with an offense set and 2 health mods to finish out the 6-mod setup. If you're modding for offense, then generally you want to try and aim for around 11k damage, physical damage. Obviously the higher the better. With Kylo Ren unmasked, he's basically there just to soak up the initial hits from Nihilus in the first phase, and as you can see, that's his mods attached. So don't stress too much about this. I'll put a loadout with the still pictures of the mods at the end of the video, but mainly Hux's main function is just to be fast enough to be able to pass over turns of devious scheme. So the whole strategy is built off the building blocks of SLKR Stasis Strike, which allows him to gain 40 stacks on a critical hit of Siphon, and then capitalize off that with Furious Onslaught, his third ability of the AoE, whereby he gains a percentage of the boost in mastery into his stats based off of the number of Siphon stacks that he's got. The raid bosses though are negatively affected by this. So let's get started. We'll open up with a Stasis Strike first, so the second ability on Nihilus, just to get the stacks started to be building up. Pass the turn over to SLKR, and then we'll go on to an AoE. Now, since the other units have died off, I'll get Crew to use his special ability so that when this Drain Force comes, like so, it doesn't decrease the cooldown on Annihilate too quickly and helps us out with the timing. So Crew is just also going to be helping with the counter attacks a lot to build up the ultimate charge. So does the mass assist. We get 2 hits there on the basic, and we're just going to keep going for a bit here. So basic counter, at this point just a basic from Crew. Going to use our AoE on SLKR and pass the turn over to Supreme Leader, Stasis Strike again. Okay, and then more counterattacks from Crew. And I think we'll use an AoE here, just to build up our stacks of mastery even further. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to be doing. And then a Mass Swarm again, just to get that ultimate charge higher. We don't really need to worry too much about the Annihilate, so just go with the basic, and here we go for the first ultimate. And Kylo watching down, stabs Nihilus in the face. Alright, so the important thing here is just to keep an eye on that Annihilate and also the Drain Force, that you stay ahead of that and time out your Unbreakable Wall. So in the first ulti we're going to go with 2 rounds of the Stasis Strike, so the first one. At this point now, because the Drain Force is coming, we're going to use Halt by Crew. Pass the turn from Hux over to SLKR, another Stasis Strike. We're sitting at 420 stacks. So ideally you want to get to 500 stacks when out of your ultimate, which during the ultimate will look as though it's 1000 plus. Alright, so we're getting more counts there, and then our third attack in the ultimate is going to be the AoE. We'll call another Mass Swarm in here. And as soon as you exit your ulti, the first attack from SLKR is going to be Stasis Strike again. Okay, so as you can see at this early stages of the phase, we aren't really doing a huge amounts of damage. We're just going to use a basic again there, basic from Hux, and an AoE again from SLKR. Pass the turn over again, and we'll just use another Stasis Strike. Beautiful. I think these counter attacks from Crew should take us into the ultimate. Yeah, there we go. Alright, excellent, excellent. Keep going. And we're going to go into the ultimate again. Now, at this stage, it's he's about to use Annihilate, so we're going to use Unbreakable Will on Crew, so he can tank that, call in the Mass Swarm to get more ultimate charge. And at this second ulti, we're going to use Stasis Strike twice again, just for the surety of building up the stacks of Siphon as quickly as possible. So there goes the ultimate, and Crew is still standing. So, second turn, we're going to use Stasis Strike again. And we're up to 740 stacks now in the ultimate, which should be about 370 out of it. Then we're going to use the AoE. Okay, cool. And the important thing is when he's using the Drain Force to make sure that nobody has any debuffs, especially that defense down, which will speed up his timing to Annihilate. So call another Mass Swarm in there. So I like to stun this guy just so that he doesn't pull off any dazes or anything onto Crew. and he'll be gone now with this AoE. Alright, I'm going to do a basic here, basic, and we're ready for the next ultimate. Alright, Crew can just get his counterattacks out of his system there. Nothing else, just a basic for this point. Pass the turn over to SLKR, and we're going to jump in with another ultimate. And at this point now, from here on for the rest of the phase, we're just going to go ahead and use our AoE throughout the rest of our ultimate time, further pushing up our stacks of mastery even higher. AoE again. At this point, since he's about to use Drain Force, we're going to use our life regen spell. Okay, and another AoE from SLKR. Alright, as you can see, our damage is like ramped up really nicely now, and Hux is going to die from passing over all the turn meter because of press the advantage. He's lost quite a lot of his health, but he has served his purpose at least by getting us out of the gate. And at this point, SLKR is basically the one who has to carry this home. So I'm going to go ahead with another Stasis Strike. Crew is just going to have to hang around for one more Annihilate, but it's getting close to Nihilus's Enraged. So even if he, here we go, Unbreakable Will again, even if he does take this Annihilate, he's going to struggle a bit with regaining health now because of the Undispellable debuff. Alright, so as you can see, SLKR is up to 1020 stacks. So now in our third ultimate ability, or fourth at this point, sorry, we are just going to use our AoE a few times just to build up our stacks even more and to start slowly dropping his health down a bit. So we've got enough stacks of Siphon that we can capitalize on quite nicely. Nihilus fortunately doesn't hit too hard in the initial phase, so you can take 1 or 2 hits from him and usually get about 2 turns for every 1 turn he takes. So that worked out quite nicely. I think in a previous video attempt that I tried, I'd struggled a little bit in the second phase because I carried over too much charge in my ultimate. So you want to try and use that up as much as you can before you head into phase 2. So phase 2 is much easier after multiple times of trying this. It's much easier when you go in with just SLKR by himself, no crew, and Hux, no matter what you do, would always die off by the end of phase 1. But sometimes if you jump into the raid after someone started, then crew does complicate it a bit. So here you start off again, Stasis Strike to build up 40 stacks of your Siphon, Furious Onslaught to boost your mastery even further, and with 3 of these minions around Scion, that's 4 targets to hit, so your ultimate charge builds up really fast in this round. Alright, so all we can do there is a basic, and then we start the cycle again, which is Stasis Strike, Furious Onslaught, basic, and you keep repeating that until you're able to hit an ultimate. So here we are, we're going to go into ultimate stance, jump up and slam down. Alright, so in this first ultimate also 2 Stasis Strike and 1 Furious Onslaught to end off the turn. Alright, and we're out of ultimate. So then out of ultimate you start again, Stasis Strike, Furious Onslaught, and we're going to go in with our basic. So phase 2 is a little bit simpler. The important thing here though is just to keep an eye out on when Scion actually heads into Enraged. You usually can tank most of their damage throughout the entire round quite easily just with SLKR. You only really needed the help in the first phase because of Nihilus being able to get off so many Annihilates, and just to make sure that SLKR has a bit of help from Hux to keep feeding him turn meters so that he can build up his Siphon stacks quickly early on before the Enraged hits. There is a bit of RNG obviously in this phase, as with most things in the game, and it was part of the reason why I failed with the previous attempts that I'd had, whereby Scion dodged one of the attacks, etc. But it also came down to a bit of poor timing with the ultimate ability, which ultimately is how you are going to resist the crazy damage he throws out when he's enraged. But yeah, so in the second ulti and onward, you're just going to be using Furious Onslaught, and as soon as you come out of the ultimate, you're going to be starting again with Stasis Strike. So as you can see, we're up to 400 stacks, doing quite a decent amount of damage now compared to the beginning. Still not quite as much as we'll see later, but we want to just look for the silver lining where we can, I guess. So Stasis Strike, Furious Onslaught, getting nicely into 2 millions now. And there we go with the basic. Alright, so he's 3 turns more to enrage. So it's once he hits the 1 counter on enrage, that's really when his enrage actually kicks in. So you want to try and time this out so that you're able to reach your ultimate in time for that. So here we are at 510 stacks, 550 stacks. And you can see there was a dodge from that Sith Marauder. But it's okay, we still filled up our ultimate charged ability, and as you can see, 1 more turn to enrage. So here we go with the ultimate, and at this point, once you're over 1,000 stacks in your ultimate, then you can just start doing the basic, because it'll hit twice compared to your stasis strike, which only hits once. As you can see there, that's a good hit, almost 10% out. We're able to survive that because of the ultimate, and we go in and get 1 more strike on Scion. Alright, and he's down for the count. Okay, so relatively easier than the Nihilus phase, at least. Oh, got a feeling we're going to see him around again later. Alright, so here we come to Treya now. So Treya's phase is probably the more RNG dependent one, because a lot of these sabers always have a foresight and it causes you to miss quite a few times. The damage is not really much of a concern, it's just sometimes these sabers can also land a ability block. So I came into this round with 1 charge carried over from the Scion battle, which might mess up the timing a little bit, but let's just see how this goes out. So first we'll start with the stasis strike. So since we were in ultimate with that stasis strike, we're remaining in ultimate, but I want to rather use an AoE to build up the mastery stacks rather than just keep pushing the siphon up. So stasis, basic, and then AoE. This is slightly thrown off a bit of the timing because of the fact that we started out in our ultimate ability with 1 charge carried over from the previous phase, but we'll work around that. So stasis strike, we don't have AoE unfortunately, so just basic. So if you get ability blocked, then well, there's nothing else you can really do, I guess. You just have to use a basic then. So that 1 saber survived, but this ultimate should take it out and topple Treya. Excellent. And then in this first ultimate ability now, we're going to start with 2 stasis strikes. And then we're going to open up into Furious Onslaught. Excellent. And she'll get up again. Like a Chumbawamba song. Alright, so we had 220 stacks of Siphon. 230. So we're going to keep building up. Stasis strike. Luckily we dodged that. And so far so good, no ability block. The isolate is not really much of a concern because you have no one else here with you basically. Alright, so we're doing like small percentages of damage for now, but that's not too much of a worry. The whole idea is playing a bit of a long game here. So we've taken away the Saber's buffs and we're going to knock them down with the AoE. So we're just going to go in here with the basic. A stasis strike should get us close to ultimate now, not yet. Alright, the AoE should definitely do that then. Alright, so we have 370 stacks. Alright, so she is 6 turns away from enrage, but she's a bit easier to take out than Scion, thankfully. So this second ultimate, it's just going to be 3 Furious Onslaughts, just to gain stacks even faster. I think part of the reason she's easier is that she can be toppled, so you do have a little bit of a pause in between to try and get your stat bonuses going. Alright, daze really doesn't affect you too much at all either. Alright, so out of ultimate, remember, first thing you're going to do is the stasis strike. It'll also help to clear that 1 foresight, and then here we go, the AoE. She's toppled again. I'll go into the basic, stasis strike, AoE. Excellent, this is going quite well. So we had 52% of on Treya with 3 turns to enraged. So let's keep going here. Okay, so we're going to use a stasis strike, clear out some of those buffs, and we should be able to get in a AoE here. Yes, okay. Don't worry about that 1 saber, he's going to drop right now. Excellent. And we almost took about 9% off of our health. So we are at 1000 stacks at this point. So I just want to see. Okay, that's actually quite decent damage. So I think 2 of these more should be able to kill her. Yep, there we go. And we've knocked her out. With great timing because we were able to burn through all of our ultimate charges, so we don't carry any of that over into the next round to mess with our timing. Personally, I feel it's better when you go into each round having finished off or burnt off the ultimate charges from the previous round, just so that your abilities are all off cooldown and you've got a more realistic way of starting with it. Sometimes you carry in with one, like we did in the Treya phase, use the Stasis Strike, and next you want to use the AoE, but then it's on cooldown when you need to use the Stasis Strike next. Anyway, so we start here with the Stasis Strike. We're going to try targeting Nihilus to get him out of the way. And Nihilus really presents the biggest complication in this phase. It's that Annihilate that really can throw your entire solo attempt off the road here a bit. But fortunately with just one person standing, for some reason Nihilus doesn't use his Drain Force, so his cooldown is exactly what you see on the screen to Annihilate. So we're going to go here with our basic, and we just need to get to our first ultimate as quickly as possible. So normally outside of this, obviously Nihilus wouldn't be able to put SLKR down, but in the raid he can unfortunately obliterate him. So the way around that is we need to try and time when we get to ultimate just before Annihilate so that we don't get killed. Damn it, this Sith Assassin missed it. And really she's one of the people that you want to try and get out as early as possible, because the Sith Assassin passes over turn meter and speeds up the bosses to get to their abilities a bit. So here we go on the first ultimate. So Stasis Strike. Stasis Strike again. And then I'm going to use an AoE. The nice thing about this phase is you've got 2 bosses and 2 minions, so you tend to build up your ultimate charge really quickly in this. Alright, and here he goes again. Alright, so out of ultimate, Stasis Strike. Ultimate, AoE. Your basic. We're going to use the Stasis Strike again. Alright, so you're going to try and keep a close eye on that Annihilate to make sure you don't nullify everything you've done up to this point, basically. Alright, so all we can do here is a basic, and we'll get another turn with the AoE. We're at ultimate now. So remember, when you have one more turn, that's when you really need the second ultimate, but if we use it now, we should gain enough charge, because his next move that Nihilus is going to use is to summon more minions, and once you're in your ultimate you can keep spamming your AoE. So I think we should use it now, and then we'll build up charge enough, hopefully, by the time he gets around to Annihilate. Also, for every one turn that Nihilus takes, we seem to be able to take 2, so we do have a bit of luxury of a timing cushion at least. Alright, so here we go. AoE first. AoE again. He should take a turn now, so that's 2 turns before Nihilus is taking his 1. And we're going to go ahead here with an AoE. That's built us up to nearly enough. At this point it's a little bit of a doozy. If you use Stasis Strike, the reason that it might be better is because of the fact that you have the option of not missing, at least. But here I'd rather use an AoE to try and double my chances. Alright, so he's going to use an Annihilate on his really next turn. So we're going to go into our ultimate and soak that up without any damage at all. Come at me, bro. Oh yeah. So we're just going to dust it off and put this sucker in the ground. Alright, so that's an AoE since we were in the ultimate. And out of ultimate, remember, first attack, Stasis Strike. Boom. Yep, goodbye to you. And on to Sion. So AoE. I think the basic might actually put him down here as well. Oh, but he's giving us more minions. We have a chance. Let's see here. Oh no, it's on cooldown. Okay, just basic. Yep, but he's gone now as well. Okay, excellent. At this point we've got 370 stacks, but Treya here is a bit weaker than she is in the previous phases. So that's 25.1% damage. Just a basic. So let's go with the Stasis Strike. Oh, excellent. An AoE, push our Siphon up even higher. Of course she dodges. Of course. Alright, and we are down to 9.94. Alright, so I'm just actually gonna hold off here a bit. Unfortunately, because of recording this, I couldn't put this on airplane mode, and I just want to give the people in the guild a bit of a chance to log some damage before I end this raid. So that took about, what, 20 minutes? give or take, less all the stalling and thinking in between. But that's a pretty quick and easy way to do this with your SLKR. So like I said, the whole strategy is in phase 1. You just need Hux and crew to be around just to help out with being able to tide him through the Nihilist phase, so that he doesn't get annihilated early on, and that's pretty much it. Once you're out of the Nihilist phase, the rest of it is pretty smooth sailing, as long as you pay attention to his kit. And the whole premise of SLKR's damage build-up is that he keeps building up on his mastery stacks, and he keeps escalating his damage in exponential percentage incremental increases, and it's absolutely fantastic. So the reason that I chose to go with the offense set is pretty much this is how I modded him for Squad Arena, and I didn't really have the mods or the patience to sit and fiddle and change him around to crit damage sets, etc. The offense sets also gives him a really nice base to start from, and with his Supreme Leader ability, he's pretty much ensuring that most of the team sits with advantage for a long time anyway, so he's pretty much landing critical hits with quite a high level of consistency, and having a high offense behind that he consistently keeps pushing up higher and higher, it really means that he starts hitting really hard, as we've seen throughout this video. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. The important things I think just to note is in that first phase, just to be mindful of when the Annihilate is coming off, be careful about the Drain Force, because that can throw your timing off quite a bit. In the phase 2, the important thing to pay attention to is when Scion is closing in on that one turn to enrage. As soon as that one hits, his very next turn is going to completely destroy you and delete SLKR out of the raid. Phase 3, I think the big thing is just to pay attention to the sequence. It's always going to be your Stasis Strike first to build up Siphon stacks. Then it's going to be your Furious Onslaught to capitalize off of that. You don't really want to just be building up Siphon stacks with Stasis Strike after Stasis Strike, except in your ultimate, because then you're not actually building up your stats much. And you don't want to just keep using Furious Onslaught unless you've got Stasis Strike before that and built up some stacks of Siphon. Otherwise, you're not going to be actually having a percentage. I mean, 0% of whatever is still a 0% increase. So, yeah, that's pretty much just some of the key pointers. In the phases where you've got the Sith Assassin, if you can, try and take her out early on, but don't zone in on that and forget about actually hitting the boss, otherwise you land next to no damage in the raid. So, just checking in Discord, it seems like people have managed to log their hits in, so at least there's some other people on the leaderboard. Also, try and be a bit considerate to the guild if you are going to do this. Don't log all the damage and finish the raid in 20 minutes before anyone else gets a chance. Alright, also I'm just curious how much damage he's actually gonna dish out here on this final hit. But at this point I think just a basic is more than sufficient. So, let's start this final stare down. Okay. 1,669,000. And that's the end of her. Alright, well, thanks so much guys for watching. So here's our final score sheet, or our score rather, for this run, for this 3-man squad. 169 million for the entire raid. That's fantastic. Alright, so yeah, thanks everyone for watching. If you did enjoy this, just like and subscribe. This is originally streamed on my Twitch channel under Pablo Escobar's vids. If you're interested in checking that out, I'll just be detailing any further raids and stuff that I do. Might actually start adding my Grand Arena streams to it as well soon. But yeah, as I said, I'll post the end. Here we go. So top of the leaderboard, and some people have managed to get their chances as well. Alright, excellent. So as I said, I'll just be posting still pictures of the mods at the end of this, and you guys are more than welcome to check that out. And take care. See you around. And thanks so much again.